Welcome to the United States of Small Business, a podcast where the essence of American entrepreneurship is celebrated in every episode. With host John Quick at the helm, join us as we embark on a journey through the heart of the nation, uncovering the inspiring stories of small business owners from coast to coast. Experience the vibrant energy of bustling cities and the serene beauty of small towns, all while discovering how individuals are turning their entrepreneurial dreams into reality, even against the greatest odds. Each episode brings you face to face with the dreamers, creators, and doers who form the economic backbone of our country, all sharing their spirit of innovation and resilience. Whether you are in the early stages of sowing the seeds for your own business, scaling new heights in your current venture, or simply captivated by tales of grit and triumph, you are in the right place. Tune in on platforms like Spotify, YouTube, Apple Podcasts, iHeartRadio, Pandora, and beyond. For deeper insights and to connect with the heart and soul of America's main streets, visit UnitedStatesOfSmallBusiness.com. Subscribe to United States of Small Business with host John Quick now and be inspired by the powerful stories of entrepreneurship, community, and the unwavering pursuit of the American dream. Begin your journey of inspiration with us today.
Welcome to the United States of Small Business podcast, where we spotlight the leaders shaping today's industries. I'm your host, John Quick. In today's episode, we're thrilled to welcome Maria Asuelimen, the dynamic founder and managing director of AMA Consulting. With a rich background in fostering organizational excellence, Maria brings over 18 years of experience in guiding diverse teams toward leadership development and operational success. Join us as Maria discusses her unique approach to transforming leadership practices, the upcoming release of her inspirational book, the first one, and her vision for empowering women trailblazers in leadership roles. Get ready to dive into a conversation filled with insights and nurturing genuine connections with organizations and communities alike. So without further ado, Maria, welcome to the United States of Small Business podcast.
Thank you. Thank you for having me, John.
Well, it'll be fun to hear a little bit about your story and this new book that you wrote. But first, tell me about how you first caught the entrepreneur bug. Everybody kind of has their story. Tell me what yours is.
I think mine is kind of genetic because my mom was very entrepreneurial. She's a dental hygienist by profession, but then she also traded in gold. So I'm originally from Nigeria, West Africa, and she would travel from Nigeria to Dubai to buy gold and resell. And so from college, I already was, entrepreneurial, going to New York to buy handbags and accessories and selling it on campus and selling it on then Craigslist. So I've always had that entrepreneurial bug, and I was a licensed real estate agent and started my career, but then again, went back the way of entrepreneurship and started my own consulting from 12 years ago.
That's awesome. So tell me a little bit more about coming from Nigeria to the US. Talk to me a little bit about that journey and what it's been like for you.
Oh, wow. I have always been very ambitious. Growing up, we watched movies back home in Nigeria about America. And, I always wanted to come here and wanted to come here to go to college. My mom was against it because she wanted me to be close to home. But my dad fought for it and he believed, and he was also, he's deceased now, but he was very visionary, very forward thinking. And he knew that, me being the first child of first of 5 kids, that coming here would create opportunities for me. And so he agreed with me. I got him on my side, and I came here to go to college. And I have to say, John, when I first came, it was a culture shock. I mean, everything is different. But in some ways, I already had that American spirit of self-reliance, liberty, freedom, always just wanted to do my own thing. I was not like a traditional African woman, if you will. So I was able to blend in, and it's been an awesome experience. 25 years. I'm grateful for the journey. I don't think that my story will be possible anywhere else other than the United States.
That's awesome. So somewhere along the lines, you decided to write a book. Tell me what inspired you to write this book, and tell the folks a little bit about it.
Yes, thank you. So the book came from just, again, walking this journey of being the first in my family to leave home and come to a new country. the first to, explore different aspects of the world, the first to work for the US federal government, the first to start my own federal contracting firm and do so many things. And the journey was just very tedious and difficult. And I always wondered how my story would be different if I had a manual, if you will, kind of like a blueprint for pioneers, for trailblazers. And I also, I have an MBA and I read a lot of management and leadership books. I just didn't see my story kind of really represented in a lot of the methodologies around leadership and management generally. I feel like there is a layer, if you will, of unearthing that you have to do when you are other, when you're an immigrant, when you're a woman of color, when you're different. There is something first that you have to overcome before you can really take on leadership tenets. And I just felt like this population was not being addressed in the traditional leadership and management books. And so I had been thinking about it for a while to do something about it and give my younger self what I feel would have been more helpful to me in my journey through my career and then becoming a leader. And so that's what really the book is about. And I finally released the book this year, the first one, A Guide for Emerging Leaders to Embrace Their Own Leadership Philosophy and develop their unique leadership competencies.
That's awesome. So how has it been received so far? Tell me about some of the feedback that you've got for folks that have read the book, which is called The First One. For folks listening in, I'm going to put the link in the podcast description so that you can easily go buy yourself a copy. But tell me about the feedback so far. Have people been resonating with some of the things you've been writing?
It's amazing, John. I just, did this and I had to overcome a lot of self-doubt and just, the bug in my ear, like who would want to read this? Why is this important? Why, you're not mainstream. Why should you talk about leadership? What Fortune 500 company have you led? What major international nonprofit? What kind of name recognition do you have? But it's amazing. The response has just been that exactly what I thought it would be. People saying, wow, this is a great manual. I wish I had this 10 years ago when I first started my career in an IT industry or in the construction male dominated industry as a woman. I wish I knew this about leading myself, leading people and leading in an organization. So it has been amazing. It really surprised me because I didn't think that, people would resonate with it, but they are really resonating with it. And I mean, I'm just excited. The reviews have been really, really great.
That's awesome. So, what are some of the lessons you've learned along the way from coming from Nigeria, coming to the US, becoming a successful business owner, kind of hustling and grinding, writing a book? Tell me some of those lessons. I'm sure it all hasn't been ups. There's, valleys in between the successes. What are some lessons you've learned along the way?
Wow. So lessons, and I talk about this in the beginning of the book. So the book has three parts. The first part is leading yourself. And I talk about you, the leader, the instrument in that part in its three chapters. And then I talk about leading people, that you do need people to be able to help you accomplish your goal. And I talk about leading in a system, in an organization, whether it's a small business, a large corporation, a nonprofit, or a federal agency, or what have you. But the lessons that I've learned is, number one, is that your identity, you have to be grounded in who you are and accept who you are. That's where leadership really starts. To your point, my journey has been, I'll say, very all over the place. It's been dips, ups and downs, and very crooked, very challenging. I've fallen down a bunch of times. I made very severe mistakes. And what I learned was that the key to really, really being fulfilled and having impact is to be true to who you are. And so that's really the first lesson of the book, is that identity. Because yeah, coming from Nigeria, trying to integrate to a new society, I adopted what I call a pseudo identity. What culture said I should be, what society expects of me in this new environment, or what the success model looks like. And I did go that route, but it wasn't authentic to me. And it wasn't until I went back to the root of who I am, body, soul, and spirit, my identity, and really honing in and accepting that, and then leading from there, that I really started to thrive. So that's one lesson, is that be who you are. You are who you are for a reason, and who you are is what the world needs, not a pseudo identity. Another lesson that I will say is relationships. People are complex, people are difficult, but the big lesson I've learned is that we all need each other. Throughout my career, it was a mentor who whispered into my ear, hey, you have a knack at consulting, but no one will let you practice on them. You have to go get your MBA. It was that same mentor who whispered in my ear and say, hey, you're very good with developing leaders, but you need credentials. You need to go and go to an ICF certified executive coaching program, which I did at Georgetown. It was my family, who nudged me when I wanted to give up, or encouraged me, or show up to my, leadership conferences that I do every year. It's my community, my friends. So people are key. So those are the two lessons I would say: is owning your identity, and then also prioritizing relationships.
That's awesome. So has faith played a role in your professional or leadership roles? And if so, tell me about that.
It is the very foundation of who I am. I am a Christian. I'm a Christ follower. This is what I believe. There is no way that I will be able to do everything that I've done, accomplish everything that I've accomplished in my own strength. It's just not possible. I'm a mom of four. So a mom of four, working a business part-time from the hours of 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. and it growing to be a multi-million-dollar government contract means nothing but grace. And I'm grateful to my mom for that foundation that she gave me, really teaching me faith in God. And it is my moral compass. It is the foundation of who I am. It's not just played a role. It is essentially the foundation on which I stand.
That's awesome. So one of the things, folks that are listening in on this podcast are a lot of aspiring entrepreneurs, people that are maybe haven't taken that leap of faith yet to maybe start their own or first business. What kind of advice would you give to folks who want to start a business and just haven't taken that leap of faith yet?
The advice I'll give you is that it doesn't have to be perfect. It's okay. Start where you are. It does not have to be perfect. The interesting thing is people always say, follow your passion. Just do the next best thing. When I first started my business, I thought that leaving the government, I had, 5-year career as a public servant, worked for 2 federal agencies. I thought I was going to just go out and help government contractors. I had no idea I would land here. I'm saying this to say that I didn't have a plan for this. And a lot of times that's what holds people back. And that's probably what's holding a lot of you back, waiting for things to be perfect, waiting to have a clear plan. Just go out and do the next best thing. If that thing is nudging on your heart, that thing is pushing you, is keeping you up at night, just do the next best thing. Just start. You don't have to have it all figured out. That is the advice I'll give you, is just put one foot in front of the other, and the path will become clearer as you move. Actually, movement brings clarity and brings things into actuality. And I think that's the thing that we always struggle with, is that we are watching people on social media, we're comparing ourselves, and we want this perfect picture before we take the leap. But I say just move, just go. It doesn't have to be perfect. The clarity will come as you move.
That's awesome. Well, folks will be listening to this and think to themselves, I need to get in touch with Maria. She sounds amazing. Do you also coach other folks? If so, how does somebody get a hold of you and get in touch with you?
Absolutely. I would love to hear from you, and you can reach me via my website, mariaasuelimen.com. All of my social media links are there. I curate a leadership conference annually in the DC, Maryland, and Virginia area. I'm in DC metro area, but you can also participate participate in that conference virtually. I have a monthly webinar series that I do on a variety of management and leadership topics. That information is also on my website. And again, you can reach out to me through my social media handles. I am on Instagram, on Facebook. I'm also on LinkedIn. Would love to hear from you and connect with you as well.
Awesome. Well, Maria, your story is truly inspirational. 15 minutes has gone by in a flash here. Do you have any last minute thoughts before we head off?
Yeah, my last minute thoughts is just do it. Just go out there and lead. You can lead. You are the person that's fit for the job. Stop thinking that it's someone else. Tag you're it.
That's awesome. Well, folks listening in, Maria is the author of a book called The First One. I'm going to put the link to that book in the podcast description, as well as Maria's website, so folks can go check her out. I want to also encourage you, if you just caught the tail end of this, to go listen to the whole thing. Great story, inspirational story that will hopefully give somebody some wisdom and guidance to take that first leap in their entrepreneurial journey. I hope everybody has a phenomenal rest of their week. Until next time, I'm John Quick from the United States, a small business podcast. Maria, thank you so much for joining us.
Thanks for having me, John.